Well, hi. I'm using my phone today. I've never done this before for a video, but came over to the church to get this video done and discovered that no one has any internet at home or here. But I wanted to get this out early enough to where, we'd have some time to start responding to other people's blogs. As far as this semester is concerned, we have learned so much about the technical details, the systematic examination of current situations, and the process of instructional redesign. Clark and Mayer, Horton, and Zapq are all excellent resources that we've been using this semester. We've learned that research is essential in understanding both the current situation and then guiding us in terms of what proposals we want to make in our instructional redesign. We've explored the best practices concerning cognitive load and specifically with respect to the graphic design and the web design of those online interventions that we're creating. In this class, some of the overarching principles that have had the most impact for me are those of consistency and attention to detail. In any effective communication, it's expected that a shared language is critical because communications is the exchange of information and understanding based on a common system, according to Merriam-Webster in the dictionary. Without a mutual understanding of terminology, you really can't have effective communication. And if you can't have effective communication, is there really teaching and learning going on? Terminology is often specific to any organization. We're familiar with jargon in the context of the business world and various industries and areas of study. But what we may not realize is that classes themselves and disciplines within education have different terminology. I have a master's in criminal justice, and we had a set of terms that we used that were words that could be interpreted differently in a different context, but in that context they had a specific meaning. We have the same sort of thing that occurs in the educational world. I've really had to step up my intuition to try to glom on to the times when I'm hearing a word used as jargon as opposed to a traditional understanding of the meaning. As instructional designers, we can never assume that our audience knows what we're talking about. So consistency is important. When we explain a term, we need to define it and explain how it's used in the context where we're employing it. I think that's one of the reasons why our peer assessment had that specific question, were the terms made clear and were they used consistently? So consistency is extremely important. It's also important that when we use terms or when we're creating terms for a particular instructional redesign, we need to be certain that the terms that we use are easily distinguishable from each other, and we need to be consistent in how we're using those. For instance, in this course, we had an ISD project, which could be the technology video, or it could be the report. So if we are going to be clear in our understanding, then we would say this is the ISD report, this is the ISD technology video, etc., and then be consistent in how we use those terms. Now, the other principle that I find that's important is attention to details, but we need to make certain that we're attentive to details within context. The reason why this is important is by being attentive to those details, that's how we maintain consistency. But at the same time, we need to remember what our overall goal is. An analogy that we could use to understand this is if we're walking in a field, we can look beyond and see that we have a landmark that's our goal. That's where we're going. In the field, we're involved in looking at the flowers. We want to draw the butterflies. We want to take pictures of the flora and the fauna around us. And all of those details are important because when we get to our landmark, maybe we're constructing a bouquet for someone that we love. But if we get too focused on those details, oh, there's a pretty flower over there. Oh, I want to put some of that grass in my bouquet, without looking at our objective, our goal, frequently to make certain that we're still staying roughly in a line with it, we can get hopelessly lost and then find ourselves very far afield, no pun intended, from that goal. So attention to detail is important, but we always need to remember our context and move on from there. Thank you for listening to my thoughts and reflections over the last 8 weeks. This has been, for me, probably it will end up being one of my most beneficial classes. I appreciate all of you, the class. This is the first time in my life when I've been willing to say, well, maybe it does take a village, because it was your assessments early on in the class that helped our group realize that we weren't getting it, that we weren't on the right track. And Dr. Bear has been so incredibly patient with us. And Dr. Bear, when you see this, thank you very much for your kindness and your graciousness, and putting up with my seemingly interminable emails. That helped us, our group, get our heads out of the details that we were focusing on and orient ourselves on the right goal. That's another thing that we need to remember when we're doing these things. We need to be certain that we're focused on the correct goal. And then that goes back to the research that I was saying at the beginning of the vlog. But for us, I must confess, we had not done our research. We had not read through the appendix assignment. In fact, I hadn't even downloaded it yet. But fortunately, with a lot of work and a lot of effort, I think we were able to pull ourselves out of that hole that we had dug so efficiently. But as a result, the peer assessment, it's always difficult to hear that we were wrong. But you guys were gracious. You asked questions rather than making statements or accusations. And it really helped us turn things around. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I hope that I have some of you all in my class in 629. It starts on Monday. Can you believe it? Oh, it's so crazy. But, in this degree plan of mine, I hope to see some of you soon. And if there's any way at all that I can pay this graciousness forward, I will make every effort to do so. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. This is Cynthia Johnson. Bye for now.